Thank you so
You,
much, Mandeep.
yes, you definitely need no introduction at all since you have been on various channels interacting with all the Indian YouTubers. So you need no introduction. So, shall I directly dive into the
Yeah,
topic?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Since we have discussed so much about English language already, and
mm,
it's somewhat it has gotten a bit monotonous for me also. So I
yeah.
have decided that today we'll explore something else.
Okay.
Okay, so why not talk about parenthood? So to begin with, you yourself are a parent. One question that keeps popping in my head is that
Uh,
how, as parents,
uh,
we can instill that confidence in our children and raise them to be confident individuals.
okay, okay.
My children are at a very young age. One is at a very young age. She is just six
Mm,
years old, and another is 16 years old, teenager. So there is a
okay.
huge difference. So I am
Yeah,
at two different levels where
yeah,
one child's demand is totally else from the other. One is in the fundamental years of life, another is in venturing into
yeah,
teenagehood where
yeah,
children start questioning their own self and they become self-conscious about their looks,
yeah.
about everything, about their
Ev-
social circle. So, if you can provide some guidance over parenthood from your experience.
yeah. I feel that it differs from generation to generation. What may hold good or what would have held good in one generation earlier, the basic thing may remain the same, but otherwise it will change as the generation changes. We need to handle them differently. I cannot
Mhm.
handle my son the same way my mother handled me.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
isn't it? One is that. And two is I feel that parenthood, it is the base for a child's individual growth. That's the fundamental year, especially if you ask me, I would say right from the child is 1.5 or 2 years old, the brain development starts. That's what they say. So I started off in that manner. I had a person who I looked up to for parenthood. She was my inspiration. Plus, I read books, but I would not say that always books would help. They will only give you ideas. You will have to make mistakes and learn from them while putting it into action. But one thing is that you should give your child that security, that emotional bonding, and that, when the child is young, I believe in cuddling also because that child needs to be
Mhm.
fed that I am being loved. When the child gets that love in the initial years, then that child understands that, like, yeah, I'm safe, I'm protected, no, I am a wanted child. And then slowly the parenthood begins, like talking about other things or letting them know. But always keep it simple and not complex. Because
Mhm.
the child's mind is like they catch everything. Today you may have told them one thing. The next day, if there is a slight change, then it causes confusion in the mind of the child. That yesterday I was told this, today I am being told this. So you should make the child understand. Treat the child as an adult.
Hmm.
It
So
may
respect
sound
the
a bit,
child, even if it is
yes,
just a child, we need to respect their
yes,
choices,
yes.
their decisions.
So that you keep that communication open. Even when the child is young, talk to them, talk to him or her, whatever. What did I do? What did you do? Whatever. Whether the child understands, not understands, it's okay. But the child will look at you. So that bonding forms. So that child knows that I can share anything with her or with
Hmm.
my whoever, mother, father. But generally, it's the mother in our Indian families, given the
Yeah.
family structure. So the child gets that confidence right from the beginning there. So they know that even if it's okay, even if I make mistake, but it is not okay if I keep it to myself. I should come and share it.
Right.
So that,
Very good point, in fact. That is where I completely agree with you. I'm on the same page because the child needs to have confidence to confide in the parent. They should not shy away from, even telling the worst mistakes that they have committed.
so
And
that confidence only we give to them, isn't it?
right. Somebody told me that children have big eyes and small ears. So they absorb everything from what they see rather than what they are told. So your actions, they
And
have a
not
big
only food,
consequences.
they also hear a lot. Hear whatever we speak sometime. That is why I believe in, like if the parents should be united, the mother and the father.
Hmm.
They should
They
put up
should
a
not
united
counter
front.
each other.
Yes, in front of the child. If there is any matter that needs to be discussed, the child need not be involved unless and until it is very required. We should have our differences, our similarities, not in front of the child.
Very well said there. And I would like to add something here since you were talking about, children and how they need to confide in you. One thing, while you mentioned respecting the children, one thing I want to bring is that instead of just disciplining them, we need to reason with them also, especially the current generation. So why they are feeling this, or why instead of just telling them no, you are supposed to not to do this. And present times are changing, especially since we are into nuclear families. That also has an impact, right?
Correct, correct, correct. Because earlier, the joint family was the basic institution where the child learnt everything. Because they were all generation people, mother, father, uncle, grandfather, grandmother. But now it is not there. So we are playing dual roles or more than dual roles. Plus, with a working mother too. So, what happens is a child is left somewhere, say in a daycare center. We can't expect them to instill the same values that we would instill in a child, isn't it?
Right, right. And attention also. That's why they demand more attention from us because in joint families, that attention aspect was somewhere balanced by the grandparents.
Yeah.
And it was a symbiotic relationship there where they also provided for the, for provided the attention to the children that they really needed, and grandparents also got all the love and, from the children. So
But
that
sometimes,
somewhere,
you know what happens? There are times when the child, you have to tell them, the reason. But sometimes it is also okay to tell them that, see, sometimes there will be certain things which we will do it for the sake of others or just to maintain harmony. Small things. So those are not big things. So don't make big issues out of small things. That
like,
also sometimes we need to tell the child. Like what happened in my case was, I can tell you my example. My parents were with me, so I was working full time and I was traveling. My mother took care of my son. So once he grew up, say seventh or eighth, my mother expected the same discipline from him when he was a child. It doesn't happen. She'll tell him, you have to study for 1 hour. He said, no, I've finished my studies. Then why do I need to sit for 1 hour? I'll be simply sitting for 1 hour, not studying. So I told my son, you go to the room, do whatever you want to do, but come out after 1 hour. Why? Just to avoid argument. It is okay because you
hmm,
understand that grandmother is old. She has a no set thinking in her
her
mind.
own set
So
of
now
rules. Yeah.
changing, yeah. So now changing that is not possible. So if we keep arguing, what will happen? The environment will get very toxic. So I tell him that sometimes it is, no, it is not, it's okay to just give in. Give in the sense just for the sake of maintaining harmony. For these small, small
Hmm.
things, petty things, I'm saying. So that
Right.
also they should know. Yeah.
Definitely resonate with you there. Many times, we have to navigate through such situations where we have to also adjust a bit just for the sake of avoiding argument. But I think current generation, they don't care much. They are very straightforward with their feelings and what they feel, and even the way we never used to question our parents, but they question us directly, and I think somewhere it's good also because then it becomes an open communication,
Correct. Correct.
right?
Yes. 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 Yes.
And talking about attention that we provide to children, sometimes it can turn just the opposite, like helicopter parenting. So many a times, I have noticed that people around. that helicopter parenting, they involve themselves too much into whatever their child is doing. They monitor every activity. So how much, is enough according to you?
I think only if the child needs extra help or that much of attention we need to give. If the child is a normal child, he or she is able to cope up with the studies, then just let them be. Ask them questions from time to time and like keep an eye. That's different. But not sitting on their head or putting them into pressure. So that creates unnecessary tension and unnecessary rift between the parent and the child because
Right.
they are at a very vulnerable age. When they go out, they get to hear so many things from their peers. One will say, my mother is very strict. No, no, my father's like this. I don't like. So there is this image formed in the child's mind without even knowing whether it is right or wrong. So all that is
Hmm.
peer talks. So if a child is, their mind is healthy and they are secure, then they will be able to overcome all this
And
and
they
not.
have a lot of peer
Yeah,
pressure. Especially at this age with my son, I have started discussing all the things that happen around, like regarding smoking, drinking, be it, partying with people with his peer age. And I get worried because of this Delhi environment.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I have faith also in him because he is a very calm and composed child, and I know that he'll never wrong. He'll
Correct.
never sway from the right
Correct.
path.
Correct.
But still, as a parent, I keep on discussing things, especially the online issues, online bullying. I am really,
Correct.
apprehensive about this thing. I tell him, no matter whatever situation it is, how much embarrassing it is, you feel that it is, my parents, somebody tells you, I tell your parents this thing you do, how much embarrassing it is, I'll understand, but talk to me.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I feel very apprehensive there somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And regarding the young children, I feel we should provide them, their own space to make their own small, small decisions, like even choosing what to wear today.
Yeah.
So these small, small decisions, if they take on their own, it also, develops into self-confidence. But if we
Yes.
force our decision, no, this is only the color of the bag you are supposed to take or your outfit. And but we can give them choices and they can pick from those choices, what I feel.
That's how
Right.
this is the style I followed. My son is very assertive by nature. Right from his childhood, he was very assertive, and even now he's assertive. He will choose his own, even inners when he was young. He used to come with me to the shop and choose. I let him choose. So what is
Mm.
there? After all, he is going to wear it, and I don't consider it as a big thing. Just because I didn't do it, I shouldn't expect that my son should also do it. I
Yes.
didn't
And
have
it's
that
not a big
expectation.
blunder that they are going to
Yeah,
commit there.
yeah, yeah. And I tell him always, this is this, this is this. Now you choose which one you want. Once you have chosen, you also have to stick with it, whether it is good or bad. You have to face the consequences too. So think in your mind. So what happens is they get that confidence that they have left the choice to me. So when you leave the choice to them, they make the right decision because they know that they are responsible for it, isn't it?
Right, very well said. And that is what this is what we are talking about for the young children, where they can not commit big blunders. But
Yes,
what about
yes,
when it
yes.
comes to career choice and choosing, when they are not even, you feel, they are not well informed, let's say, because they are at such an impressionable age where, I believe that
Yeah,
career choice is something where we need to provide them all the information and then let them decide how to go
yeah, that
about that.
happens. Yeah, that also happens. That is why we should start young. I always believe that if you have a good friend set, you will grow up into a big, proper or healthy individual because either it is home or your friend set or your companionship. If you had
Hmm.
good company, then they will give you good ideas and the talk will be healthy and the discussion will be healthy.
Right.
You don't need to be scared. So only thing when they are forming friends, we have to be careful and see whether their friends are good.
That's when the social circle comes into play. So they
Yes.
see what everybody else is doing and they have informed decision. That's what my partner keeps telling my son also. You need to keep your eyes and ears open and know what your friends are going
Because
into, what are
you are
the
you're
options
right.
they are
When my
considering.
son took up engineering, he was in first year. There was this, one lecturer, one professor who was a big bully. So one day he came home and he said that, like, I don't feel like going to his class. I don't feel like attending his class because he bullies us. So I
Oh.
got scared that he's not that kind of a boy. Suddenly he's coming home and telling me this in his first year. He said, I'm thinking of, dropping out. I said, see, first tell me what happened. See, never ever think that I want you to be an engineer. For me, you
Hmm.
should, gain knowledge. Even if you do a normal degree, I will like you and value the same. No, I don't want you to be an engineer. But tell me what is the reason. If it is solvable, we will sit and solve it. Or else then we will look for options.
Hmm.
Then it happened that the professor, he was a little bit of psycho. Then things turned out okay. Then I'm like, what I'm trying to say is these things happen, so we need to give them that assurance. Instead, had I reacted like this, what is this, you can't do this, this is your engineering first year, what are you thinking, had
Mm,
I approached him like this, then things would have turned worse. Then
right.
he would have gone against me. He said, no, 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 no. So just to avoid that, first cool them, bring them down. So it is more of an adult attitude than a parental attitude. Even if your child is young, it should be an adult to adult. Because then they know that, oh yeah, my mother treats me as an adult. So that means I am responsible. I shouldn't do this, I should do this. He himself will choose. When you let the person choose, he or she feels important and happy about it. This is human tendency.
Very good advice there. I think I actually gained completely another perspective. First of all, as an adult, we need to think how we react before reacting. So there, that becomes, I think, very important to be patient
Yeah.
and choose your reaction very wisely.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
but sometimes it's very impromptu and cannot be helped,
Correct. Correct. Yeah. That
right?
is where our attitude comes into play. Our mindset and our attitude comes into play. We should also have a strong mindset, not get influenced by our peers. Because generally happens, like our society or our close circles, they will say, "What is your son doing? I am sending my son for this coaching. My son is going to be a doctor. My son is, he's going to do this course. He's going to do that course." I am not bothered by it. My main thing is, what does my son want to do?
Yes.
And another thing, I have often heard this, Mandeep. I don't know whether you have heard this. Many of them will say, it was my dream. I was not able to fulfill it. So, my child, I want my child. Are
Yes,
ask them
projecting their
whether it is
own
mine.
dreams on the children.
First, ask them whether is it their dream.
Right. And that's why, many of, engineers, doctors, engineers especially, they end up doing engineering under the parental pressure, but then later on deviate their path into completely something else.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, what happens is who are weak, who are not able to oppose, they give in, but like they become totally a changed person. Then their personality is affected. It also affects their relationships later on also.
Hmm.
And those who are very rebellious, they rebel. Isn't it? Can't say. So you have to be very careful.
Right. Great piece of advice there. And I think I have gained a lot from your experience. And I actually felt quite connected with you in today's conversation. So it's not just about, English but I
And not
actually
only
felt
that,
like something
Mandeep,
part.
I feel that reading. I used to read a lot to my son. That also creates a bond between the mother and the child. Once
Okay.
I come home, it was fully my son's time, me and my son.
My son, since third standard, he was into reading a lot, but he read on his own. On Kindle. So he was like 11,000 books you get on Kindle, and he has already finished that all that
Used to read
capacity,
and
and
discuss.
now he wants another one. And
We used to read
he,
and discuss. Maybe it is that's what, now he was a 90s kid, isn't it?
yes,
So,
And my
so that's
daughter, I'll tell you, last night only, last night incident, she was so reluctant to read aloud. I was like, no, you have to read aloud. Reading aloud is very important. Then she was not willing to do it. And what I did, I grabbed a mic, the karaoke mic. I said, you read and I'll listen it in the mic. So
okay.
we turned it into a game, and okay, I was
Yeah,
like,
true, true,
okay, you did
true.
your session, their
Yeah,
reading session. It was
yes,
important.
yes, yes.
Because my
And
mom
we,
always
yes,
insisted
you're
on
right.
loud reading.
Yeah, you're right. We do need to get involved in there so that we don't make them feel that. Come on, let us. Even the words that we use that also matters, Mandeep. Let us do it. So us, we are bringing ourselves also in it.
Us,
So
us
that
into
means there
picture,
is a
yes.
companionship. There is a friendship. Let us do it. Let us sit. Let us
Right,
talk. You sit, you talk. No, let us do it. Come, let us do it. We shall do it. It's a small thing, you and we, but it makes a hell lot of a difference.
right. Your words make a lot of difference in what you do. The choice of words is important. Right. So I think we are pretty much through the discussion, and it was a very healthy discussion, very insightful. I gained a lot of, insight through your experience. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for
So
connecting
much,
with
man.
me.
Thank you. Bye, and all the very best.